Now we're going to make what's called an increase stitch. To turn this single crochet stitch into an increase stitch, we're just going to do exactly what we did and do it in exactly the same hole. So we're going to make a second single crochet stitch in the same hole. Before we do that, let's just double check we're set up to be able to easily move our hook through the loop that's on it by tilting our piece so we can take a look at the loop relative to the size of the tip of the hook. Remember, we want this loop to be basically the same diameter as the tip of the hook. And if it isn't, either move your hook away from you or pull on the yarn connected to the yarn ball to make it a good size. So you've got one loop on your hook, and to start this second single crochet stitch, you need to put your hook in exactly the same hole as the previous single crochet stitch went into. That hole is the hole that is marked by the orange stitch marker. So pull that orange stitch marker off to the left so it's out of your way, and then stick the hook in the same hole immediately to the right of the orange stitch marker. And it should look like you've got 3 strands of yarn on your hook, because that hole was under 2 strands of yarn that looked like a horizontal V. You want to make sure the tip of your hook is facing you and the hook is in front of the working yarn. Now yarn over. That means bring your hook down under and behind the working yarn. Keep the tip of the hook facing you so that you can grab onto the yarn with the tip of your hook. Now you're going to bring this yarn back through the hole that the hook just went into. So pull the piece and the hook in opposite directions to make that hook temporarily a little bigger. Rotate the hook from facing you to facing the piece, and then pull the hook parallel to your body. And the moment you clear those 2 loops, rotate the hook to face you again, push it off to the left, and then pull the hook a little bit away from you so that the new loop is about the same size as the old loop. You should have 2 loops on your hook now, and let's just check real quick that these loops are a good size by tilting the piece and taking a look at how the loop compares to the tip of the hook. You want the loop to be basically the same size as the tip of the hook. That's how you're going to make sure that all the V's that you make are roughly the same size. The hook should be in front of the working yarn, and we're going to do a yarn over again. So bring the hook down under and then behind the working yarn with the tip of the hook facing you. Now pull the hook and the piece away from each other to make the loops on the hook temporarily a little bigger, and then rotate the hook from facing you to facing the piece. Now pull the yarn through both loops on the hook and move your hook parallel to your body. The moment you clear those 2 loops, rotate the hook to face you again. Push the hook off to the left so this new loop is safely towards the base of your hook, and then pull the hook a little bit away from you so that this new loop becomes a little bit bigger. If you only have 1 loop left on your hook, then congrats! You have finished the increase stitch. You can move on to the next video. If you feel like you didn't do that correctly though, either tap on the help icon or take your hook out of the piece and pull on the yarn connected to the yarn ball until you can reset back to the pre-started piece.